Right now, we're all thinking about how can we reduce costs in our business. We're trying to ensure that we just, manage our cash, and we're constantly looking at our sales and our revenues every day and wondering what's going on and what should we do. And when we get into a position like this, a lot of times we just kind of go into this panic mode, and it says, okay, slash everything, cut everything, stop the bleeding immediately. So I want to just kind of take a step back, breathe for a minute, and maybe even talk to someone about what's going on in the organization and how you can not just remain for this moment, but even thrive after this moment, or even thrive in these conditions that we're facing right now. And so the first thing we normally do is say, cut training, cut the payroll. Those are the first places that we look. So before we do that, I want to talk mainly about our payroll. Before we say goodbye to anyone, I want us to look at the fact that some of us have sent people home to work. And if that's the case, what does that mean in terms of our costs? How has that changed our costs? Now, today, immediately, it may not have changed our costs because we have leases that we cannot get out of, and other commitments and other contracts. But I want us to think about that in terms of long term. In our business structure may have to change. Our business model have to change. And with that business model changing may not necessarily mean that every employee has to go home. So let's just kind of think about that. Let's look at new revenue streams. What new revenue streams could we be looking at? And right now we see, I heard an Uber driver was quite interesting. He was saying that, you know what, he cannot find any passengers to pick up. So he's now made a partnership with a local grocery store, and he's delivering groceries for it. He looked at a new revenue stream. Now, you may not be able to make that adjustment so fast, but I want you to start thinking about what can you do to really preserve or just make some shifts in your business. And so before you start thinking about who could you also send home, I want us to think about some other ways to even work with the current employees that we have. And that is one, furlough versus termination. Is this a furlough? Maybe you can furlough some employees and not necessarily terminate them, because you don't want to actually let people go who you may need. So think about that as well. Think about job share. Could this job now be done by two people? Some employees have been asking you for part-time. Some employees have been saying that they didn't want to work full-time. And so job sharing could be one thing. We could also look at part-time positions. What could you do on some of your roles? Could you scale them back and still be part-time as well? And then when you're talking about cost cutting, perhaps I remember once some employees gave up. They all decided that they would give up out of their salary 50 cents an hour. Now, 50 cents an hour does not seem like, well, what is that going to do? But if you're talking about lots of employees, 50 cents an hour doesn't have a major effect on some employees, but it has a major effect to your balance sheet. It could have a major effect. So look at it. Anywhere between 50 cents or $1 doesn't make a major difference to an employee in their take-home salary, but it could make a major difference to an organization in terms of what they're actually paying out in their payroll as well. Also, that also could help some of your employees during this very difficult time qualify for some benefits that they normally would have not qualified for, simply because their salary was reduced by a small amount. Also, think about some of the benefits that you're offering. Some of the benefits, maybe there's some adjustments you can be making in some of your benefits at this time. So this way you're able to preserve a job and maybe have to change or reduce some of the benefits that you're offering to your customers. And then look at some of the things that you're outsourcing. Now, a lot of times we've outsourced things simply because we kind of said to ourselves that, well, we don't want to make our back office our front office. But this may be a time to bring those things back in and allow some of your current employees who have a lighter workload because of what's going on to start assuming some of those roles. So I just want to encourage you to look at your organization holistically, and not for us to just, take the knee-jerk reaction of terminating employees. And please, in no means am I saying that terminating anyone or laying someone off is a knee-jerk reaction. But sometimes in such a panic of doing something because we see what's happening into our balance sheet, that it's just so difficult for us to think calmly. It's so difficult for us to have thoughts coming through us and be innovative and creative during this time. But I want to encourage us. This is a great time to be innovative. This is a great time to be creative and finding ways that we can thrive through this difficult time. Have a great day.